So y'all, I'm going to kind of give you the background and then we'll just take you guys through it, and it can take on a couple of different versions. I will refer to it as a hydrofacial because it's stuck in my head, but I do like the transition into the X-facial. So a couple of things. First of all, I really want to influence you as a businesswoman to really get smart and savvy as a business owner. We are independent contractors with Mary Kay, and I think sometimes we play smaller or little less powerful than we could. Recognizing how powerful our ingredients are is a game changer. So let me tell you, the way the hydrofacial came about is this. I can look at my customer base and it splits in half pretty much. So when I look, half of them, they are either starting skincare and they are starting with their budget. They're starting with the basics. We will guide them into, microdermabrasion. We will guide them into those things that are appropriate for their age and their goals for their skincare. And then I have the other 50% of my customer base. They really are doing like the repair and they are doing advanced things, but they are also getting treatments. They're getting fillers. They're doing Botox. They're doing advanced things in a dermatologist's office. So, it is interesting all the things that you will see that are offered right now in skincare and color cosmetics. And so I had in the fall, I had about a week, and the word hydrofacial just continued to come up with some of my best customers, and they were all repair customers. So the first time one of my repair customers said, "Hey, I've just done these hydrofacials and they're amazing," I thought, "Oh, that's great. I'll go research that." And then within a day, another customer who was she loves our repair line. She said, "Oh my goodness, I'm doing these hydrofacials." And I thought, okay, note number 2. By the 4th one, I thought, Ryan Reeves, as a savvy businesswoman, if you don't go do some research on this, if you don't figure out how this plays into your market, because it's already playing into your customer base, then you're not serving them well, quite frankly speaking. So I needed to become the most business savvy woman and really figure out how to increase serving them well. So I needed to ask them a couple of questions. So this is where I want you to start your thought process. I want you to ask yourself a couple of questions about your particular customer base. So question number 1 is, how well do you think you know your customers? Okay. And when I ask you how well you think you know your customers, specifically, what percentage are currently having additional beauty treatments? What percentage of customers are putting in other skincare products to their line? What percentage in your customer base would love to do additional treatments if they had more time and more money? And so this is where I want you to start asking your customers question. And y'all, you can call your customers. That's what I suggest, is calling your customers and just saying, I'm doing a little update survey with my customer base, and I would love to know a couple answers to these questions that I have. Do you mind giving me a couple of minutes? And you can do it over survey, of course, but if you do it over the phone, it gives you the opportunity to connect with them and hear what they're doing, hear why they're doing it. But survey them and see what they're doing. See if they're using something else in a different line. See if they're accessing things, or see if they had more time or more money, would they pursue some of the advanced treatments that are out there? And y'all, I would venture to say that a large majority, if they had more time and they had more money, they would pursue additional treatments. And so in my pursuit of surveying my customers and really getting to know what it is they're doing behind the scenes that they're putting in their roll-up bag, or they're doing in the spa or in the dermatologist's office, then I really started to get to know exactly what they were doing. And I think up to that point, I was asking the questions, but I don't think I was direct enough. I don't think I was transparent enough. I would just say, girl, I have customers who do fillers. I have customers who do, those are okay. Just kind of give me an idea of what your preferences are. Because I think sometimes when people use other things or they're getting regular treatments, they don't want to tell people. But if you let it be an environment where it's okay to tell you, what in the world would you do? Let's talk about it. It is the reality of where we are. And so I would love for you to start by surveying what your current customers do. Now, secondly, what I did was I went and I researched hydrofacials. Now, you can YouTube hydrofacial and you will get a bunch of versions of hydrofacials. You will get professional versions of a hydrofacial YouTube, and you'll get the other side of hydrofacial YouTubes. But essentially, this is what I want you to know about hydrofacials. If you research what is being offered as a hydrofacial in a med spa or a dermatologist, number one, the first thing I want you to recognize is it is a licensed esthetician or a dermatologist or someone licensed doing it. And while we are talking to our customers about an option, a similar option to a hydrofacial, we always do have to disclaimer, we are not a licensed esthetician, we are not a dermatologist. And so I'll take you through how I speak to people in my classes, but I want you to be aware that because they have a license or because they're an MD, they can do other things. So I don't want to give the impression that they will get an exact mimic of the hydrofacial that they're going to get in the spa. But if you were to YouTube a hydrofacial, what you're going to see is you're going to see a licensed esthetician or dermatologist, and they're going to have the patient, the customer. And the first thing they're going to do is with their rubber gloves, they're going to do a manual cleanse to their skin. So they're just going to take a cleanser that they use in their office. They're going to do a manual cleanse to their skin. Then after they wipe away the manual cleanse, they're going to take, it's a vortex machine essentially. And I'll read you the exact definition of it. But it's actually called a hydrofacial vortex machine. And that's why it's so important to never use the word hydrofacial, because that is a trademark machine. But this hydrofacial machine, I will read to you the exact description. So the exact description of a hydrofacial is this. It is a next generation of microderm. Hydrofacials provide a deep cleanse, exfoliation, extraction, and deep hydration using a medical grade vortex machine. Hydrofacials can layer many products. Most commonly, the hydrofacial will layer microdermabrasion, glycolic acid, salicylic acid, hyaluronic acid, anti-aging peptides, and brightening agents. So essentially with the hydrofacial, if you do it in a med spa or a dermatologist, they are literally doing the manual cleanse, and then they're taking this vortex machine and they are essentially layering different layers of treatments. And what's interesting is as they were talking through the different layers, they did a deep clean, they did a microdermabrasion, they did a glycolic, they did a salicylic, then they did some rehydration, they did some anti-aging. And as I'm listening to this, of course, I recognize that we are not going to be able to mimic that exactly. But I did start to recognize many ingredients that we have in our current line. And I thought, well, okay, obviously we know how to manually cleanse. And so, we started doing that. And then of course, we know how to microderm our skin as well. Then, of course, we have a glycolic acid peel. We have a salicylic. The one word I did want to bring attention to, though, is the word extract. We actually cannot extract. So that is something that the machine does. The machine does the extracting. And so that's a word we should not be using in our vocabulary. But with the charcoal, we can bind, and I'll talk to you about that in just a second. But these are the layers of a hydrofacial. So once I started educating myself on what it was my customers were experiencing as they were getting these treatment done, I learned a couple of things. Number one, they were doing the hydrofacial treatments either once a month or once a quarter. There is a recommendation to do them once every 4 weeks if you want to maintain a high level of maintenance on it. But most of my customers who had mentioned it, they were just doing it once a quarter, or they were doing it occasionally as a treat. And so I thought to myself, well, I want to make sure that I have provided a high level of excellence in delivering those similar products on a regular basis, so that when they go get these hydrofacials, they're not doing it because they feel like they need it. They're doing it because they feel like they want it. So it's one thing for them to want it as an experience. It's another thing to not know that we can provide similar benefits. So that was the birth of my thought process on the hydrofacial. And so what I started doing was really taking my current customers, and I took the customers who had mentioned it first, and I asked them, you're currently on repair, and what I want to do is I want to walk through what I believe is our layering process of the hydrofacial. So I want to take you through a cleanse. I want to take you through the microdermabrasion. I want to take you through the glycolic peel. I want to take you through the salicylic and the binding, not the extracting, that would come from a charcoal mask. And then I want to take you through the super hydrators and the anti-aging peptides that we have. And so you know, I wanted to also make disclaimers constantly. That number one, well, let me give you two big disclaimers. The number one disclaimer I want you to always use when you're talking about any kind of spa treatment that is out there that we are working to use our ingredients to mimic is we are not a licensed esthetician and we are not an MD. So that is certainly not what we're trying to do. The other one, y'all, is this. We do need to follow Mary Kay's claims. So you can take the product fact sheet and you can literally say the product fact sheet. And I'm going to do your facial based on Mary Kay's product fact sheet. Okay, so we're going to do that in just a second. But you know, essentially that's what we did. And the one thing that I want you to be really conscientious of is everyone's level of exfoliation is different. So in a hydrofacial, they do, since it is a once a quarter treatment or once a month treatment, they do cleanse, they microderm, and then they also do a peel after a microderm. Now, Mary Kay does not say to do a peel after microderm. Mary Kay says to wait 3 days in between those exfoliating treatments. So with my customers, basically I use a lingo with them, and I just basically say, when we are doing our hydrofacials, then I'm going to make sure that you know, Mary Kay does not recommend double layering, but if you're doing a hydrofacial and you're doing that in a spa, they will double layer their exfoliators. And so you're going to have a couple of options. You can put one exfoliator on your hands and you can put one on your face, and then you can kind of see what your skin needs, how it's different from the person next to you. And so we're making those things are the things to be really conscientious about. Do not pretend to know more than you do. Don't pretend to be an esthetician. Don't pretend to be an MD. You know, be conscientious about layering exfoliators, and you cannot do that on a daily basis. You cannot do that on even a weekly basis as well. You know, hydrofacials are once a month or once a quarter treatment. So, and those are the things that I want you to be really conscientious about as we kind of go through this hydrofacial. So with that much said, before we start our facial, what do you guys have questions about so far? Or Julianne, if you don't want to open it up entirely, Julianne, is all of this clear so far based on our previous conversations?
Trying to unmute. Okay, there we go. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. It's absolutely clear, and I know that Mary Kay is a stickler for making sure that we do not make false claims, we do not try to oversell, and you guys, one of the worst things you could do is have somebody with super sensitive skin, and you do not give the claim that she said, where she said, wait 3 days between the microderm and the glycolic peel, because if they do have a reaction, you know, that's something you don't really want to go to. So I think that that's huge. We talked a lot about that. So I think that that was the best one. And I love the other one that you said right at the beginning. You let them know we have the same type of ingredients, but this is not a hydro peel. This is just our ingredients that can mimic and be similar to that experience that you would have in a spa. And I think if you're that clear, Ryan, and so you guys, I think what you're gonna need to do is play this over and over again. And quite frankly, I am going to get my assistant to transcribe that part so that it can go out on our Facebook pages, both the Crake and the Nagel areas, and it will be with all the other things that have been given. So I think with that, and then what you're going to do with the claims of each product are critical. So this is not something you can go out, I mean, how they say, don't do this at home. You want to go out knowing what you're saying, what you're doing, and you have the claims from the company. And Rhonda Shannon has taken those claims that you talked about, and in yellow here, she's put this, here's your closing sheet. She put it like this, and so she's going like this when she's talking about each of the products. And on the back, she's reading the company's claims to each one of those products. So she's reading the company's claims on the ingredients. So there you have that. So that's my take, but yes, it was beautifully, beautifully done, and we will transcribe it.
Perfect. Okay, that's wonderful. So let's go ahead and get started. So let me tell you a couple of things. When I am working from a roll-up bag, this is my hydrofacial roll-up bag. And as you just saw with Julianne, the hydrofacial closing sheet that we originally began using is this. Remember, I began doing hydrofacials with my existing customers. So I love the hydrofacials because it did give me a new point to resell them on anything they had not replaced or they had chosen to replace elsewhere, or it allowed me to add to their bag to get added benefits. So I will say, when I work with customers who are not on our skincare line, I will tweak this a little bit because I do want them on a complete repair set or a complete 3D set. So I will tweak this and kind of jockey it around a little bit, but we're going to go from this. So if you were starting with your existing customer base, this is your closing sheet, but this is the roll-it bag. And in the roll-it bag, I'll just read it to you. In the roll-it bag, in the top pocket, we have the repair cleanser. And then we have the refine to the microdermabrasion. The second pocket, we have the glycolic acid. And then we have the charcoal mask as well as the satin lip scrub. So you can see we're going to start grinding down quickly. In the third pocket, we have the hydrogel eye patches. And we have the satin lips balm. And then last but not least, we have the naturally oil and the renewing gel mask. So you can see how this is a powerhouse. Your current repair customers, think of it like this. If you had a current repair customer and she adds to her repair this lineup, she is now a loyal brand user. I mean, this is a game changer. And I'll tell you too, through this finding, and total sidebar, not to digress, but with my middle daughter, she does have breakouts. She has the worst breakouts of my kiddos. And we had been using Clearproof for a while, and we started doing hydrofacials. Now, I did not put in the peel for her for obvious reasons. And I added the microdermabrasion to the cleanser so it was more gentle. And again, we're not doing this on a daily basis by any means, but that plus that naturally oil, you would not believe that the naturally oil and an extra hydration would clear up her acne, but she's 14 and like that. So when I couldn't get it to go away with Clearproof alone, y'all, really restoring that level of hydration through this X facial, it's a game changer to older women and to younger women. So I'm not saying that a 14-year-old needs to go on this line. Hear me on that. But to restore using some of these levels of hydration to any age can change their skin. So let's go through our hydrofacial, shall we? Now, I'll also tell you, when I'm doing this at my party, I keep it simple. I'll have my roll-up bag. I actually have roll-up bags for everybody already filled. So literally, they just pull down their roll-up bag, just like Cindy Williams taught me to do when I was a brand new consultant, have a roll-up bag for everybody. And then we just kind of mix and match if we need to pull anything out or leave it in. When I am teaching from a class, I'll try to not mess this up, but I just have this little setup. And basically, I have my repair set sitting here. I have my 3D set sitting here. And then right behind it, I just have my jar of what's in the hydrofacial so that it looks simple for their routine. So whatever way they think, I am just simply grabbing either from the regular line or I'm grabbing from the jar. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start with the repair cleanser. So of course, you can leave your eye makeup on and you can go ahead and take your cleanser, take ample water on your fingertips, or go ahead and pat half of your face. And for this, if microdermabrasion is not something you typically do, or you think you might have a sensitivity to high-powered exfoliators, in addition to putting cleanser in your hand, I want you to either add the microdermabrasion to the cleanser to make it more gentle, or I want you to try the microdermabrasion on your hand first. So you get to continuously decide how much exfoliation you want to start with. So take your cleanser, rub it in upward-outward motion. So let me tell you about the repair cleanser as you're rubbing that in upward-outward motion. The repair foaming cleanser is a pampering cleanser that your skin has been searching for. Everyday skin cells that are ready to be sucked away accumulate on the skin surface, but the Time-Wise Repair Foaming Cleanser gently sweeps away complexion dulling impurities as it leaves your skin feeling revitalized and hydrated. So a hydrating cleanser is a great first step to our X facial. Now, if you chose to take your microdermabrasion and add it to your cleanser, I'll go ahead and talk about that. If you want to rub your cleanser in a little bit longer and then wipe it away and then just try the microdermabrasion on your hand first to decide how much exfoliation you want to start with, then that's okay too. So go ahead and either way, rub your cleanser off with a wet washcloth if you're ready to move on. But let me tell you about the Microdermabrasion Refine. Microdermabrasion Refine is a physical exfoliator that reduces the appearance of fine lines, and it gently refines your skin's texture as it removes your surface dead skin cells and buildup from pores. Congested pores can lead to stretching of the pore wall, making them look enlarged. Eliminating impurities trapped within is an important first step towards improving their appearance. So you can see, while this may not be in a spa using the machine, we are starting with a hydrating cleanser, and we're instantly going to begin refining our pores and begin the process of minimizing your pores, essentially. So go ahead and make sure you've done your microdermabrasion, whether you chose to add it in second, add it into your cleanser, or try it on your hand first. And y'all, as you're continuing to rub and scrub and you're pulling that off, I encourage you to watch a YouTube, because literally they take this Vortex wand, they cleanse just like you're cleansing. Then they take the Vortex wand and they microderm just like you're microderming. So every single layer that we do, they're doing that with their ingredients, of course, and with this machine, okay? So we have microdermabrasion. You can go ahead and pull that off when you're ready. And the next thing we're going to do, if we're working from our roll-it bag, is we're going to move to our charcoal mask. So you can go ahead and put your charcoal mask on.
This could be fun.
It is going to be fun.
Let me Bambi.
And you can put that on, put it on thick, coat it up great. Usually you'll let your charcoal mask set for 10 to 20 minutes. And Julianne, you can decide for us how long we let that sit. We can talk about other things if we would like, but essentially on a hydrofacial, this is where it is a little bit different. I want to make sure that you do have your verbiage correctly. Is the Vortex machine, it will literally use a salicylic solution and a sucking motion, a suction essentially, to extract things from under the surface. And again, that happens, extractions happen with licensed estheticians as well as dermatologists. So we do not do extractions. However, the charcoal will deliver the salicylic, and because of its binding of the impurities, it does have the ability to begin unclogging those pores as well. So we do not manually extract, but the charcoal does bind the impurities. So let me read to you exactly what charcoal does. Charcoal has a natural exfoliating process. Sometimes this process doesn't work, your natural skin's process does not work as effectively as it should. So oil, bacteria, and impurities get trapped inside your pores. The Clear Proof Deep Cleansing Charcoal Mask helps remove the dirt and impurities that contribute to problem skin, and it offers a gentle solution for supporting a clear looking complexion. Activated charcoal when charcoal goes through a special heating process, it becomes activated, making it more porous. Activated charcoal is known to absorb up to double its weight in impurities. The power of activated charcoal helps unclog pores, taking skin beyond the everyday clean. As a result, your complexion looks clearer and healthier, and pores appear minimized. The Clear Proof Deep Cleansing Charcoal Mask contains honeysuckle and navy bean extract, which is shown to target the appearance of skin discoloration. Together, they're a powerful ingredient combination designed to help you leave a troubled past behind and create a clearer looking future. So the charcoal mask is our next layer. So we would leave that on for 10 to 20 minutes.
Okay, so Ryan, can you hear me? Okay, yes. So it'll be hard to talk because this will harden right away. Okay, so then I can't put my glasses on, so this ought to be a trick. Need a magnifying glass. Okay, so somebody asked the question, how do you tweak the closing sheet? Let's say this is a new customer, you just meet someone. How do you tweak that?
Okay, so that's a great question. One of the things that's essential is to do a lot of pre-profiling. So when I'm doing hydrofacials, I will just ask more in-depth questions. So I'll ask them questions such, and basically I'll say, so for instance, I have a hydrofacial party on Thursday. and I'll just say, okay, girls, I'm going to call and just get a few piece of information to figure out what you currently do to your skin, the level exfoliation that you're currently used to, how much hydration you feel like your skin has versus how much it needs, and then if you have any sensitivities. And y'all, it is so imperative to ask these questions, because if I were to give you a list of people that I facialed recently, one of my customers had tons of laser treatments done. And so y'all, I'm going to err on the side of caution, and I'm going to have her try her exfoliate microdermabrasion down here and not necessarily back up her microdermabrasion and her peel, because if she's done lasers underneath, I don't know what's underneath. Okay. So I'll ask some of those questions. And for instance, one of the girls this last week when we did hydrofacials at an event, she said, I'm brand new to skincare. I use just a Neutrogena off the shelf. She was 25 and her skin was porcelain. It was super white. And so I asked her a couple of questions. I said, do you have any sensitivities? Do you have any allergies, eating allergies, food allergies? I just want to ask as many questions to hear anything I might need to know. And then I said, are you used to doing any level of exfoliation, whether it's just manually, like scrubbing with your rag, diligently, or maybe it is any kind of exfoliator. And so she said, no, but when I've used a Clarisonic brush in the past, it really irritates my skin. And I said, okay, great. So I am still going to teach you the layers of a hydrofacial, but what I want you to do is put the microdermabrasion on your hands, and then we're just going to put the peel on your jawline at first. I want to see what it does on your jawline. Let me just, don't take it, this skin right here near your eye. Of course, you don't get all those things super near your eye, let's be clear. But it does get a little more sensitive in this area. And so this jawline, I felt most comfortable with in starting with her. And so I said, let's just start the peel here. Let's give it a couple minutes and let's just kind of see. And so what's interesting is she actually ended up doing all of it. She did microdermabrasion, but she did it based on her terms. And I did all the checking and the double checking. And when her comfort level was there, I let her move it up based on her comfort level. Now, another thing I do too, in addition to a lot of pre-profiling, I will say these hydrofacials have increased my customer relationships tenfold, because I want to be so conscientious if they have more exfoliators and more hydrators in their roll-up bag. I want to make sure and check on them often in their first couple of weeks of use. So I want to see how their skin is doing with that extra hydration. I want to see how their skin is doing with that extra exfoliation. And I also want to see if they're over exfoliating, because, a hydrofacial is supposed to be done once a month or once a quarter. It is not for daily use, but you know how we are as women. We will take it and we'll just go ahead and do it 10 times, And so I just want to ask those questions. And then, of course, your 2-week appointment is still essential for your follow-up facial. So those are some of the questions, just getting to know your customer base. One of the other customers that I've worked with recently, I'll be really honest with you, we did not know what her skin was going to do, because she said, I am allergic to almost every line I've tried, Mary Kay or otherwise. And she had not tried Mary Kay in quite a while. She had undergone chemo. She had undergone some hormone, some surgeries relating to a disruption in her hormones, things like that. And so honestly, I just was very honest. I said, these are the product claims. We want to err on the side of less exfoliation, and I want you to add them in. So if you want them, take them home, but you're going to kind of be testing them on yourself, and we're going to talk often. So, when you have some of those things happening under the surface, you just want to ask the questions and check on them often, but you don't ever have to be who you're not. If you're not a licensed esthetician, you don't have to act like you know more than you do. Stick to the company's claims, and then really try to ask enough questions and hear what she's saying.
Okay, Ryan, let's see. I had a couple other questions here. This is even more difficult with mask on. So you're reading right off the fact sheet, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And do you always read the entire portion of that while they're in the mask, or do you shorten it ever? Like I know on Rhonda's, she has highlights of it. And so do you feel like do you always just go through while they're doing it? So, because this is all new to us.
Yeah, so I will shorten it sometimes. It depends on really my customer. If I've never facialed them and I don't know what they know, sometimes they'll tell you they know a lot, but they really might not. So I try to stick to the longer version because quite frankly, we're rubbing and we're scrubbing and we have time for the longer version. But if it's a customer who I've had for a while, then I will not. And, just like Mary Kay Ash, taught a long time ago, if you believe that continuing to use your flip chart is motivating to women sitting at the table thinking to themselves, I could do this. I love taking product fact sheets, like the literal product fact sheets from the company and just highlighting. And, this is how I learned how to do a skincare class in the first place, and it still works. And I would just pass them around the table and say, when we get to the charcoal mask, read the highlighted area and tell us what in the world the charcoal mask does. And so she would read it to her friends. So I think whether you're a new consultant and you want to print off the product fact sheets and highlight and let every participant at the class read what's highlighted, that's a way to engage them and stick to the sheet, or you can shorten it. But again, just keep to the product claims.
Okay, and looking at Rhonda's again with my glasses on, it looks like she actually has quite a bit of the same information you just shared, which I think is very empowering. I mean, I love to hear the navy beam. I think that's showing that it's a lot of real natural products. A question on the natural products: what about the natural powder exfoliator? What do you think about, would that ever be integrated into this if someone didn't want, if they wanted a more natural version of this?
I think absolutely. So if our goal is to offer our customers an experience, a hydrofacial experience using our product line in the privacy of their own home, of course, the exfoliating powder does a great job at exfoliating. It is more gentle. So I think it would be completely fine. It would not mimic as harshly a microdermabrasion treatment in a spa, nor would it mimic as intensely our microdermabrasion. But for someone who has sensitivities or someone who just wants to use the natural exfoliating powder, I think it's great.
Okay, perfect. And then, and maybe you can get us, we're probably to the point to take off our mask. And so if we want to take off our mask, what do you tell us when we take off our mask? Just take off your mask?
I encourage cold water. So anytime we're combining a lot of exfoliation and a lot of hydration and a lot of mask, and not everyone honestly needs cold water, but just in case, it's always smart to err on the side of a cold cloth and just make sure it has ample water. I like to, hold it on my face for just a little bit and then remove it. Now, I will tell you this, if it were me, I know that I do not have a sensitivity to exfoliation or to peels or to any of those things. So I prefer to feel like I'm in a spa and put the warm washcloth on, open the pores. However, when I'm teaching a class, I like to teach them to do it with a cold one to minimize any kind of reaction if they're not used to doing exfoliation or not used to using mask back to back, just because it does typically tend to minimize it.
Okay, great. And when you have this at your parties, like I have a little bowl to the side of mine here. Is that what you give them a bowl?
Yeah, I actually just get the little Chinette plastic cups, and I just go ahead and put a little water in the bottom, and I usually put about 4 facial cleansing cloths because this one does take a lot. And I just tuck them down in there. So it kind of looks like the little fancy, it looks like there's a little swan hanging out the top, So I just have all of those and then a little water in the bottom.
Okay. And you're saying a cup, right? One of the cups?
Yes. And it's just the smaller one. And I can go grab one in just a little bit, but I literally just keep my little facial area at my house. And I always have 4 facial settings out, and then just the little clear cups, and I keep the facial cloths tucked down in them. And then when I know I'm about to do a facial, I'll just add the water.
Okay. One of the other questions while we're finishing, because I'm seeing the faces on the screen, they're still doing what I'm doing. So when you do this particular experience, what is your time frame? I know the 45 minutes still at 250. And then the other one was an hour. So was the other one a little bit more, or you just were not in as big a rush?
You know, I can do it as in a 45-minute time span, but I can take a while. So usually what I'll ask is, would you guys like the experience? Because I can slow down and I can just really let you guys take in the full 20 minutes on a charcoal mask. Or if you really want to feel the layering of ingredients, but you don't have as much time, then I will do a little faster version. We'll do 10 minutes on the charcoal mask. We will put the microdermabrasion in the cleanser, which I will disclaimer, Mary Kay does not say to do that, but I am doing that as a time-saving piece. So I will just do some of those things. So like when I did the 45-minute facial the other day, I mean, if you have your roll-up bags already packed, I mean, it is boom, 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 boom. And she smacked CC Cream on, said, you know, and she didn't, she did want 3D because she wanted more brightening. She was not older. And so she wanted more of the brightening components instead of the Voluform components. And so we did switch out some things, but that was very easy and fast because the bags were already made.
Okay, so let me ask you on the bag. So you're allowing every person to use a bag, and these are bags that you probably take to other appointments. Are they taking that home once they're done?
So I have just this place setting. So the little, like I have my facial bag hanging up, and that's the one I can choose to work out of that if I'm at a party. If I'm at my house, I will just have these cute little cake stands, you know, and then, but I have their roll-up bags. They're not working out of their roll-up bag, but at the end, I'll have them, you know, kind of do whatever. And I would say, Holly, my experience is about 90% of the time, they just go, okay, how much is the bag? Let's get it. I mean, like they don't do a lot of switching out, but sometimes.
Okay, perfect on that one. And then, so take us to the next step. And I know there's probably another pause somewhere, so I can ask the questions.
Okay. So the next step is going to be our peel. Okay. So you have done microdermabrasion. You have done charcoal. And so I do want to give you a little disclaimer. If you have any exfoliation sensitivities or you have any level of sensitivity right now, I would prefer you try the peel on your neck. If you don't feel any sensitivities to your skin right now, or that's not something that's typical for you, then you go ahead and put the peel, the Revealing Radiance peel, on your skin. But of course, keep it away from your sensitive areas near your eyes. So any exfoliators, you do want to keep away from the sensitive areas on your eyes, near your eyes.
Okay.
Now,
go ahead.
I do find with this peel, sometimes if you've done microdermabrasion and you've done the charcoal mask, you can experience some tingling. So tingling is not bad. Burning is bad. So make sure you give me some feedback as that peel goes on. We'll let it sit for 10 minutes, but I want to know, do you feel tingling? Do you not feel tingling? But definitely let me know if you feel anything more harsh than tingling.
Okay. And then when you have them put it on, do you give them any idea, like if I were thinking this is my first time to do it, how much do I put on?
Perfect.
Do you tell them a dime size? What do you tell them to put it on?
Yeah, so a dime size is plenty. And I just do 2 pumps. So 2 pumps usually is a dime size.
Okay. Perfect.
And what I do, Julianne, is at my parties, you know, I have the roll-it bag sitting out, but I actually don't put things on their tray. I used to do that, but what I do is I will take the cleanser and I'll show the first person how much to put on the tray. And then the other person is kind of watching, and then they'll do theirs. And so they actually get the experience of touching the bottle, feeling the bottle, and they get a feel for how much needs to actually go on.
The other thing that happens there, in my opinion, is you're not wasting product if someone doesn't show up.
Exactly. Yes.
That's really good. That's really good.
Yes.
And then any leftover product they could probably put on the back of their hands to see how.
Yes, always on the back of the hands for sure.
Okay. Let's see. Somebody just.
Tammy did 6 pumps.
Well, you know, the older we get, the more we need. I want it to go from the neck down. That's what I'm wanting.
Yes. Absolutely. So while that sits, let me tell you about the peel, and then you guys can give me a little bit of feedback. So the Revealing Radiance peel, it actually helps transform the look of your skin. So it does so by using glycolic acid. It works immediately, removing your dead skin cells from the top surface layer. And this exfoliator ingredient also works on the remaining surface levels, so it starts to break apart the bonds, connecting thousands of other dead cells so that they can be released and plumper, fresher cells can take their place. So by increasing the rate at which skin-dulling dead skin cells on the multiple surface layers are eliminated, the power of glycolic acid enhances skin's own renewal process for a rejuvenated look. So rejuvenated look is what we're going for after this peel. So this advanced exfoliation method also significantly smooths your skin, reduces the hills and valleys associated with drier, rougher texture. And then once the layers of dead surface skin cells have been removed, your skin will be primed and ready to accept the benefits of other age-fighting treatments. So even Mary Kay's words tell us, you know, the peel allows us to accept the next treatments. And so how key a peel is to then accepting the hydration that we're going to put on next too. So we're going to let that set for 10 minutes. So Julianne, bring on any more questions you might have.
Okay, so I wanted to know, how would you, if you were warm chatting, how would you introduce this X-facial or hydrofacial? How would you introduce that to a stranger?
So you know what, this is the interesting thing, and this is it's been my easiest booking tool. So the two ways that I'll do it, I'll tell you my current customers. So today I booked someone who literally I have asked her to facial for probably 10 years and she's never said yes. And literally I just texted her. I thought I'd try again. And I just said, hey, Cassie, have you ever had a hydrofacial? And just asking a question. So when you ask a question that is not, will you book a facial? But I just said, hey, have you ever had a hydrofacial? And she said, no. I said, have you ever heard of hydrofacials? And she said, no. And I just said, my friend September wrote this about a hydrofacial. She said, it is a deep exfoliation, gentle pore clogging, and extremely healthy, nourishing facial. And so we have a version of it. Would you like to do a hydrofacial with me? So I usually call Mary Kay hydrofacials. And she's like, yeah, I'll be there Sunday at 3. So
perfect. Okay, and so I have that document. Rhonda sent that over, those exact words. So I'll send that through once we get that all put together. You know, now this is something that we are using in our area. This is a card that has 3 different models on there. And on the back, it shares concerns, women's concerns for their skin. And so I was
that's great.
And then it's got your picture up here and tells that here's a illustration of my artistry. And so it shows your makeovers. These are your makeovers. And then on the back, it offers a complimentary $20 gift certificate towards whatever they purchase. So it's a good way to get people interested in booking. It talks about what problems they're having with their skin. So I was trying to figure out with those same words, you know, talking about, yes, that facial would address this, 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 and this. And so maybe say, these are the top concerns I have. And then you're able to say, oh my gosh, we have got the most amazing facial, or X facial. It is extra, you know, exfoliating, extra hydration, and it is without the extra high price tag. And so, and it can take off those extra years. I'm excited about that. So I was just trying to help. So, and what I love about this, both areas, is they don't lose the card. When I had my little event in the hospital, that was the first thing I told my assistant to bring. And then we talked about that I was hurt. But I said, this is a mega place of booking. So bring me a little baby hand cream in there. She's not going to lose your card. She's going to remember you. And with this on top of it, oh my gosh, you guys, this is a line ready for you to just dig into. So, so that is beautiful. And so I will give them that little card that had that on there. Anything else that you can suggest that is?
Yes. You know, one of my recent experience, I've done this one particular expo for a couple of years, and it's a wonderful expo. And so I did a vendor booth, and typically I do the raffle, I do all of that. And this particular year, I thought I am going to talk about a raffle, and I will have the raffle tickets, but that's not really how I'm going to do it this year. And so I just literally, I have this board, and it says digital skincare analysis, free digital skincare analysis. So when people walked by, I simply pulled up the SkinSight app and I just said, hey, would you like your free SkinSight analysis, your skin analysis? And they would go, sure. And so I would hold up my phone, I would do their digital skin analysis, and then I would just hit save, and I would say, I'm going to send this to you. Have you ever had a hydrofacial? And they would say, oh no. And I'll say, okay, well, let me do this. I'm going to send your analysis to you. I'm going to text you, and I'm going to follow up to schedule your hydrofacial. It's a real treat.
Wow.
I mean, and that was it.
I love the fact that you're sending it to her because you've just captured her number.
Yes. Absolutely. I mean, I didn't have to do anything with all the raffles, and I have had the most success, not only booking, I would say 70% have booked with me, which is a much higher number than typical for a vendor event. And they're all excited about their hydrofacial when they come. So.
Well, because if you ask for their number, they're not going to do it. They'll hesitate.
Mm-hmm.
No, because you're going to call them. But if you're saying, I'm going to send you this information, so you guys do not give them that information right up front. Just go ahead and tell them, let me send it to you right now. And then when I call you back to see what you think about your skin type, we're going to schedule your hydrofacial. And then you explain the hydrofacial. So I think that's brilliant. Okay, let's see. Do you see any other questions popping up for you, Ryan?
I saw the age question from Tammy.
Okay.
Tammy, I'm 42. Thank you for asking.
Tammy, you can't be asking these things, okay? Let's see. This is amazing. When do you do marketing? They're asking, when do you do marketing or the quote unquote name game? And then let me see here. I'm thinking of customers I can introduce newbies to. They're super excited about this. Okay, Tammy, how old are you? And then Christy Flater says, this is so brilliant. What a fabulous way to do booths and showing the technology with the MK app. Love it. Dee Beasley said, do you only do half of the face?
So that's a great question. I do only do half the face, but I explained to them at the beginning. I was taught from the day I started that we always do half your face, because I don't ever want to song and dance you into purchasing any kind of product. What I want you to see is, as you layer each product, how your skin looks different from the other side. And so we are going to do half, but since you now know how much product to put in your tray, at the end, when I do the close and I sit down with you guys individually, feel free to even up the other side of your face. So it keeps them busy while I'm doing individual closes. But again, I did have a recent hydrofacial party, and I had one particular neighbor. She was so precious. She said, well, I can only come to the party for 30 minutes and then I need to leave. And so I said, okay, Deborah, you can come for 30 minutes. That's great. And so I just said, try it on your hand. Don't do it on your face. It's fine. But leave when you need to leave. I'm not offended. So we were doing the facial, and she never left. And so then at the end, I was doing the individual close, and I said, Deborah, you're not going to offend me if you need to leave. I could do follow-up with you. And she said, well, I really didn't need to go anywhere. I just was really scared to put it on my face. But she continued to see everybody else's face. So she was like, I'm going to try this. So she bought the whole roll-up bag and just did it on her hands.
Well, and so Tammy Ballard, she just said this is brilliant. And it really is, you guys, because what happens during the time when you are closing other people is people pack up and go. They usually take their profile card with them because they're just gathering everything that they think is theirs. And so that's a lot of lost sales. And so I think it is brilliant to do one half, especially when there's this many steps. It's going to take longer because they're going to let the other side dry. So that's really going to allow you that extra close, everybody. So that is brilliant. Okay, well, I think we are good with questions. I think I'm going to look again, but if you want to move forward, I'll just take a peek.
Sure. And so at this point, I would do the satin lips and the satin scrub. So if we're going to let the peel set for a little bit anyway, I'll go ahead towards the end. I'll do the satin lip scrub. And then we're ready to wipe off the scrub and then wipe off the peel afterwards and put the balm on. So if you guys have your satin lip scrub, you can go ahead and you can rub the satin lip scrub in a circular motion to exfoliate, to do the sugar exfoliation.
Okay. And then when you do the, I've got mask going in mine, so I'm going to have black lips. When do you do the marketing, did you say?
Yep. So I always prefer marketing on the front end, but since we do need to still let the charcoal mask sit in the peel, so during the charcoal mask, I'll do marketing, and during the peel, I'll do the friend referral.
Okay. Marketing is during charcoal. And then friend referral. Can you want to talk about that while we're doing this?
I just either play the fabulous game, or sometimes I run, and it's not official. I snagged it from someone. Let me see if I can grab it real fast. So this was, maybe it was, I can't remember. I just snagged it. I need to go back and look. Maybe Julia Burnett. But on the back of one of her sheets, it just says the Fabulous Friends game. And so I basically just say, this is an opportunity for me to give your friends a hydrofacial and your friends a gift certificate. So I get to give at least 10 gift certificates every single week in my business. And I know I love you. So I just assume give them to your friends. So do me a favor. I'll set the timer for 3 minutes. And what I want you to do is race your friend next to you. Grab your cell phone out. And I want you to list the names of every woman that you can think of that we either love a hydrofacial treatment. She's a woman that you consider a leader. She's a woman you consider that goes above and beyond. So why not go above and beyond and honor her with a gift certificate? She's someone who so I just read these descriptors and I just say you're going to get 1 point for every person that's under 25. You're going to get 2 points for every person that's over 25.
Brilliant.
And so your mark gets set, go.
That is brilliant, because the over 25, and you keep moving them up, we want to spend more money the older we get. We want more.
Yes, absolutely.
So,
And I would never typically walk away during a Zoom, but if you would allow me like 30 seconds, I do want to show you what I've recently been given, and it's the greatest gift to use in my class, and I didn't think to grab it. So was it okay if I go grab that really fast?
Sure. Okay, I'm going to check questions. If anybody has any questions, post them now, because we're getting close. It's not going to shut off at 8:30. Don't worry. I allowed. Let's see. I have heard that we are trying to become closer to the 2020 woman today and revamp how we are doing marketing. What marketing are you doing? Someone's asking you. And then she said, love that you let them finish half the face. I always thought I would hate to leave feeling uneven. So very good. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So what marketing are you doing?
So with the marketing, I give a recruiting packet to everyone. So I hope you're still putting a paper recruiting packet at every single place. And I just say, while we let the mask sit, and this has been my phrase forever, I just say that that it is my expectation as a sharp businesswoman to make sure that 100% of my customer base is educated on what my business plan offers. And so I don't assume that every person is going to join Mary Kay, but I take personal pride in educating 100% of you. So we're going to play a game. I have a team building packet that gives you information at your place setting, and I want you to pull it out, thumb through it. Whatever information jumps off the page, we're going to do a ticket game, but I'm going to let you cheat for a minute. So I have them pull open the recruiting packet, kind of thumb through and start thinking of questions. And then this was the gift that my Offspring sales director, Brittany Elkins, gave me. She sends me a gift a month as we work to finish a national area. And this is a deck of cards. So someone else had done the deck of cards, and I do not know the originator of that, so I apologize. But what she did was, this is a picture, if you guys can see, of when we presented our unit on stage for doing Million. And so all the cards have this picture. And so one of the gifts that I'm currently giving in my Pacesetter program is whatever their goal is. So one of their goal poster pictures that means the most, I'm doing their deck of cards. And so instead of handing out the tickets, which is what I have always done in Mary Kay, once Brittany gave me these cards and showed me this little trick that she learned, what I do is I'll just say, now that you've done a little digging in your business information packet, we're going to do the ticket game where you actually get a card. We used to call it a game. And every single time you ask a question, you're going to get a card. And the first person to ask a question gets 3 cards just for being first. And then we're going to keep them rapid fire while our mask sits. And so I just give them these cards. And so what's happening is, while they're sitting there thinking of questions, they're either looking at their recruiting packet or they're looking at our goal poster, one of the two. And so they're getting this visual. And so what I do is at the end, we add up the value of the cards, and then we give prizes based on the value.
Wow. Wow. You are so brilliant. Has anybody told you that?
Well, I appreciate you, but that was my Offspring. She did great on that. It was so wonderful.
Goodness, that is brilliant. I love it. And somebody's going to ask me that. Where did you get the cards made?
You know what? I will send you the site that she sent me because I can't recall what it's called, but I have it on my phone.
Perfect. Okay. And then we have, no wonder Ryan is going to national. Go get it, girl. So, all right. There you go. Okay. Now let's see. We have our, oh, we still have our glycolic peel. Usually leave that on how long?
Okay. 10 minutes. So you can take that off. And again, you'll want to go ahead and use a fresh cloth if you have it, and use a cool cloth if you have it.
Okay.
And so, of course, if you're doing half the skin, half the face, that I have them just touch and feel and look at their neighbor pretty much between every step. And that way they're just getting a little gauge on how their skin is changing with each layer. And that's the thing with hydrofacials in the spa, is it is a layering treatment. You know, that's why people love it, is instead of going and getting a microdermabrasion or getting a peel, it is a layering treatment. And so people are getting a multiple approach treatment. And you can even, if you go to a spa and have it done, you can put different things in it. So you can even choose what they call add-ons, and you can add on different layers. And so what I would really draw your attention to is, really, Mary Kay has these products with powerhouse ingredients. It's just a layering approach to what we're doing.
Because what we've always known, Ryan, is simply just, here's an additional thing that you can do to your skin, but we've now put it together in a formula that gives the outcome of the hydrofacial.
Absolutely. And quite frankly, it hasn't been in a consumable format, I don't think. I think saying, let's do a layering approach to your skincare that you can put in, you know, once a month, or, you know, you can kind of work with your customer base on that, then it is a game changer. It is a game changer on how they consume the information, because otherwise it's like, we have all this stuff. Do you want any?
Yeah, I love that. I think everybody should write that line down. Let's do a layering approach to your skincare. So I think that's fabulous, because that's exactly what we're doing, and that's what they're doing in the spas, right? So and then you can add even more things. I know at the bottom of your closing sheet, you have even different things they can add, the eye creams and different things that aren't in the roll-up bag. So, and you go through that at the close. Okay, so there we go. Ooh, I'm looking younger.
Yes, you are.
Do you ever teach them to do it on their throat area as well?
I just always say, if you do it to your face, do it to your neck. That's just a good general rule. Now, microdermabrasion and a peel back to back may be a little harsh for this skin. So I would probably disclaimer that, but especially any hydration, I would always pull hydration down, whatever that looks like.
Okay, perfect. Okay.
Okay, so our next layer, we are going to put on your hydrogel eye patch first. So if you guys have your hydrogel eye patches, put those on first.
Okay, I'm just making sure we don't have questions. I love these.
Yes, I do too.
Oh, yeah. And I think you could wear them all day long because people don't even know they're there.
Absolutely.
They're just kind of the invisible, you know, defender against all evil.
Yes. So you can take your hydrogel eye patches, and once you put those on, and this may be random, but I have found that the easiest way to get them on is to take your two fingers and place it on top of that, and you just kind of do this. And then just, that's random knowledge.
Good random knowledge.
And then you can go ahead and put your oil, your nourishing oil.
And may I ask why you chose nourishing oil?
You know, honestly, I do not love oil on my face. I kind of loathe it. So when it came out, I thought, you couldn't ask me to put that on my face for all the money on the planet. And then I watched it change my daughter's skin, who is so blemish prone. And I thought, are you kidding me? If it will do that, it will hydrate to a level where she's not oily and not having more breakouts, but just hydrate with problematic skin. I thought, well, I'll try that. And so I started putting it in, and my skin is dry. I just don't prefer the feel of an oil on my face. And because it is so quick absorbing, and it is such a powerful drop of hydration that it literally is, it's just a booster. It's a moisture booster is how I think of it in my head. That is not Mary Kay's claim, but it is a moisture booster to whatever moisturizer or renewing gel mask you're using.
Okay, so it says, oh, never mind. Somebody's asking somebody to do something. So when you have people put the moisturizer on, do you just, you show the first person. So when you're doing the oil, how much do you tell people to do? Just because that question's.
I do 2 drops. I'm not overly crazy, but of course, when I watch my children do it, it's 59 drops. Or if Tammy Craig does it, it might be more. But yeah, 2 drops I find is sufficient to tap it where it needs to go and then rub it in. And especially most of the 89 drops, yes. So if I'm going to put my oil on, and then I'm going to put my renewing gel mask on, then and go to sleep. Other than that, I'm just going to add my moisturizer and go to sleep. You know, then that should be sufficient. 2 drops should be fine and plenty.
Okay, so in your regimen, so what you're using the oil and then a moisturizer on top of the oil to seal it in.
So when I do these, because a hydrofacial is an intense hydrator. And so I will use a drop of oil. I'll put the renewing gel mask on top, and then I do add my moisturizer.
Okay, perfect. Okay, great.
Now, I will say this as well, just disclaimer wise, because the night repair has retinol in it, if you are sensitive and you did do all of these exfoliators, you just need to be conscientious of that. I have had 0 problems. I've had no problems with any customers having a problem, but retinol on top of some of these exfoliators, if that's not something normal for them, they just need to be cautious of that.
Okay, good. Someone asked what steps you use for a teenager, but you shared that earlier on of what you do with your daughter, right?
Yeah, so this is totally random. And really, one of my sales directors is an esthetician as well. And so I will call her often just to keep me in check, really. You know, like I'll do my research and just say, do I understand this correctly? And, you know, we had been using Clear Proof and she was having good results, but then she got to a point where she wasn't. And she said, well, Ryan, I think you might not be hydrating enough. You're stripping constantly, because she does have all these breakouts, but you aren't hydrating enough. And, you know, it seems so counterintuitive to put that oil on her face. And so she said, just humor me and try it. And I did. And I mean, like that, instantly. It's crazy.
Amazing. Okay.
And let me not act like I know more than I do, because this was her verbiage and I only really heard the first part of it. But basically, she described what I believe she termed it as an acid mantle. And at a certain point, if you exfoliate too much, you have to stop and make sure you have extreme hydration and stop exfoliating. So, you know, that's another reason we have to be cautious about over exfoliating. So someone would not do this routine on a daily basis or a twice a week basis. You have to make sure that you're not over exfoliating without rehydrating properly.
Let's see. She's also asking. She's curious if you would still use the Clear Proof moisturizer as well. Then.
You know, we have so.
Okay, so you have done that. Okay,
yes.
And one of the things on when you have such dry skin like that or oily skin like that, we have a tendency to want to dry.
Yes.
Our bodies are so smart that when you dry it out too much, it just secretes more oil, and you're kind of fighting that never-ending battle there. So you've got to moisturize it. So that
absolutely.
So brilliant. So brilliant. Okay.
And I do think someone brought up the point that we've also discovered. If I have someone who is a little sensitive to exfoliation and they're not already on repair, I will often put in the oil-free hydrating gel. So the old school purple bottle, it's a fantastic night moisturizer for someone who does not want to put the retinol in there.
Okay, great. Sherry Kendall said, how often do you recommend this regime to people?
Yes. So I always disclaimer and say hydrofacials in a spa are once a month. You have to give, they will not do them more often than that, because they require you to give your skin time to rehydrate and replenish. So what I do with my customers is I tell them that is how a spa hydrofacial is recommended. And now Mary Kay tells us we have to at least have 3 days between exfoliation. So because this particular hydrofacial, we do microdermabrasion and we are backing it with a peel as well. I usually tell my customers, try it once a month, see how your skin tolerates it. Then if you want to increase it, again, you decide how much you want to increase, then maybe try it twice a month. And so basically I just give them the freedom. I make sure to know what Mary Kay tells us to do, but I let them know, start with once a month, build it to, you know, every other week, and then just decide what your skin needs.
Great, great. Okay.
And if you're doing your follow-up with them, you're able to answer questions back and forth, because quite frankly, I have some people, like I have a customer that she's so funny, and she just is going to do what she's going to do no matter what. And she's older, she's done some other things, and she said, I do it twice a week. And so I said, you know, I'm not really sure that twice a week is, I think that might be a little overkill. And so she said, well, I'm going to just keep doing it until it feels sensitive to me. And so I just check on her and just continue to make sure that is not a Mary Kay recommendation, so that I am totally covered. But for me personally, I can do it twice a week and be totally fine.
Right. And, you know, Tammy just said something. She said, this is fun. We should meet once a month and do this as a tribe, because it keeps us accountable that we're doing it. But it is also fun. So this is a good thought. What if you were to do this with your customer base? That you just did a facial with this once or twice a month. They meet, and then they've got questions going on. People are having different experiences, and maybe they're saying, oh my gosh, I love adding the eye cream to that. I love doing this with that.
Yes.
And they're going to hear that another customer has that idea. You're going to share what that could do for them. So I see that as a real huge accountability, which creates reorders and new sales.
Yep.
So
you know, Julian, that's brilliant, and it marries what Ari Hathaway launched with the huddles. You can have your X facial huddles.
Ooh,
and you can do a once a month huddle. I think that's a great idea.
X facial huddle. And then maybe you could have a player of the month. And it could be they could show before and afters, and whoever was the most drastic, or referrals. So they bring people into they come to the facial. So they get people, and for referrals, they would get as something, they could have the player of the month award. So
yes,
awesome. I love that. We're going to work on that. And of course, you know me, it'll have a theme and little things, t-shirts. Okay. So, all right. I'm seeing more questions here. Tammy says, oh no, here it comes. Julianne's themeitis. Yes, Tam, I already admitted it before you said it. Okay, so I had agree, love the tribe. So put the renewing gel on and leave it, and then put moisture on and leave it, or don't wash it off, correct? Making sure I understand it.
Yes, if I'm doing a daytime facial, then I'll tweak that portion a little bit. We'll take the renewing gel mask off, but if it's nighttime, they just leave and go to bed with that.
Okay, so so you're going to put the gel or the oil on and then the gel? Yes. Is that the way you're doing it? And so you're saying that's how we can go to bed tonight. Well, I'm super excited. I'm feeling younger already. So Tammy was just saying that Tammy Ballard, you have been noticed and recognized for exercising while you're doing this. And so that is called multitasking while multi-masking. So just saying, I'm just saying that's a new class we could do too. So, all right, good job. Okay, anybody else have any questions? Okay, Ryan, how do you close this out then? What's the next?
So when I close it, they all have a bag, so it's pretty easy. So I am double checking to see. So let's say, for instance, you already have the repair set. So I will just say, okay, so I'm going to teach you guys how to take home your HydraFacial bag. So you may decide to take some of it home or all of it home. But basically, when we do our HydraFacial roll-ups, if you choose to take home all of the exfoliators and all of the nourishers, so starting from top to bottom, where we started our facial, the cleanser and the microderm, the peel, the charcoal mask, and the lip scrub, the hydrogel eye patches and the lip balm, and then ending with the nourishing, which is the oil and the hydrogel or the renewing gel mask. If you decide to take home all of your exfoliators, all of your nourishing, the total comes to $283. However, if you buy it at our class, then we sell it to you for $249. So you do get a good deal, plus you get your bag for free. So essentially, you guys get to decide what level of hydration or HydraFacial you want to take home with you. And if you decide you need some of the extras, you just choose any of the extras at half off because you came to our HydraFacial party.
Love it.
So, and this is where if I'm working with someone new and they are not on our skincare regimen, then I absolutely am asking them, let's look at your HydraFacial bag, and I do want to make sure we customize it to put the entire regimen on there. So sometimes that means that I do offer the rest of their regimen. If they buy the whole bag, I will give them some pieces at half price just to make sure that they're getting their entire regimen, because it is silly to not do a regimen but do all supplements. We've never been trained that way, so we have to make sure that they're on that. Or they may say, you know what, I don't know that I need all that exfoliation right now. Maybe I want to take out one piece and then put in, some pieces of my regimen. So if I have not facialed them, I do want to make sure that they are on one of the regimens, either 3D or the repair set.
Perfect. So you're making sure that they have a skincare. They're not just going home. Like with the spa, you go home, you had that one experience, the HydraFacial, and then you leave and that's all you have. You have nothing for what you did. So this they would only be able to do once a month or once every couple of weeks if they work up to it. So you're making sure that they are a full customer. An A customer. Perfect. I love it. Okay, so someone was just asking, so normally you would do your marketing when the peel is on. You would do the marketing, and like you shared with us how you do it, correct?
I do the marketing on the charcoal mask.
The charcoal mask, excuse me. And then it's the closing is the peel?
The peel, I do the referral. So the rationale for that, when I was in DIQ, one of the biggest learns for me, even though it's been a while, is I have been doing my marketing at the end. And when I began doing my marketing at the beginning, it changed my recruiting drastically. And then when I put my referrals as the second step instead of the first, they had already started to decide they liked me enough to share their friends. So doing it in that order for me just increased my results. So I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying I saw an increase in results.
Well, I think from the results that you've seen and what you do, I think everybody's going to be wanting, and raise your hand if you're going to want to do it that way. Okay, there you go. All hands went up. So excellent. Okay, so from this point, someone said my video skipped out for a minute, and so she wanted to know, so we leave these on for how long? Tell everybody how long we're leaving these
on.
For
20 minutes. So you'll leave those on for 20 minutes. And I will tell you, sometimes if you've done exfoliation, those patches can be a little sensitive. So make sure when you're telling the information on the hydrogel eye patches that if they feel some sensitivity, again, tingling is okay, but burning is bad. So I'd say tingling is fine, burning is bad. So keep me posted.
Okay, good. All right, I'm not seeing, let me just jump in here and make sure there aren't any other questions. Do you have any other things you want to make sure we know?
The only things I wanted to make sure we had in closing is, number one, I cannot stress enough that you just need to pay attention to doing really great pre-profiling, really great follow-up, making sure you're constantly encouraging them to determine their level of exfoliation, if they're going to choose to do multiple layers today, or they're going to choose to pace themselves and experience a layer on their neck or their hand and then try a different layer on their face. Just allow them to determine that for themselves. Make sure you're using Mary Kay claims. Make sure you're never, we're going to call them X facials, but certainly make sure you don't say hydro with an O. That is a trademark and it is a machine. So that's why you'll see hydra. Make sure you're not using the word extract. Those types of things. Make sure you are constantly saying at a class, I will say, I'm a Mary Kay consultant and I'm very well educated. However, I am not a licensed esthetician. I am not a medical physician. I'm not a dermatologist. And so we are working to provide a similar mimicking facial, but it is different from what you're going to get in the spa. Now, what I do find is this, y'all, this is what I think our niche is. What I have found is in my customer base, when other brands storm the markets, they are typically priced extremely high. And so just so you know how I understand our products, I believe we are delivering high-powered products that we can offer our highest level of expectation customer. I believe that so many women want to have treatments done and they can't afford it, so they're either in that camp. And so this type of hydrofacial allows them to do these things because they can either pay $200, $250 a treatment and do a spa facial or hydrofacial once, or they can have the bag and do it for a year, you know, and that is different. And but on that same note, when other competitors come into the marketplace, they may have one or two really great products, but they typically have a super high price point. So what I see my customers doing if someone ever enters the direct selling marketplace for sure is if they're going to pay a really high price, they're going to do that on treatments and fillers and lasers and things. What Mary Kay has done well for us is they've given us high-powered ingredients, but they've kept our price point at a point where we can literally say to that customer who expects to do the layers and do the Botox and do the fillers, we can say to them, I can offer you a high-powered maintenance plan so you can continue to spend the rest of your budget in the spa or in the dermatologist's office. But I know that our products will compete, so I don't get concerned if they're going into a spa or they're going into a dermatologist's office passing all of those medical grade products, because my product serves as a great maintenance and enhancement routine to what they're doing in terms of treatments or procedures. So really understand what Mary Kay offers, because we have the ability to compete with any of those populations.
Wow, I love that. You know, years back, one of my consultants, personal recruits, she was a master esthetician at the Bellagio in Las Vegas. And she taught classes on what high-grade products we do have. She knows all the complicated words, say them, and exactly what they do and what's in them. And she would always look at it and taught my directors that these products are high powered, like you said. I love that you use that word, high powered. And so be proud of our products, but don't overclaim. And I love the fact, Ryan, I'm going to go back to it again, that you are using the company's fact sheet. And I know that that will keep you out of a lot of kind of snags, if you will just stick to that and not try to embellish that. One of the other things that you said I wanted to clarify and make sure I know is use, and I love this, so I hope you wrote this down, but she said, you can do one of those spa treatments or you can buy the bag. And that spa treatment is one time, or you can buy the bag and use it for a year. Is that correct? Use it for a year. So that's using it one time a month, or how many times would they be able to use that for a year?
Yeah, so I would probably, say more than once a month, they could still get away with it, because if they're only doing it 12, however many months or a year, they would obviously get the full use. So 12, but I mean, they could do it way more often. So I think that's an ultra safe claim.
Wow, when you state it like that, I can't think of a woman after she feels what I'm feeling. I'm just going to sit and pet my face. But, when they're feeling that, they are going to say, that is a deal. I can go much
absolutely,
or I and do it every month, every single month in the privacy of my own bathroom. So
Yes.
yeah, be telling all their friends, you guys, people are going to notice how great their skin is. So give them cards, tell them, pass them out, book for the, have your own X facial huddle and get together with your girlfriends and let's get younger looking fast together. So I think that is so beautiful. I have another question pop up here. Would you offer the set in the roll-up bag or would it all be separate? No, this set that she's talking about, it's in the roll-up bag. So each person has a roll-up bag, correct? Right in front of them.
Yes, correct.
Yes, and I'm not sure whether that's Suzanne Brothers that taught that at the very beginning. Can't remember who came up with that one, but I always did that, hung it on the back or put it right in front of it so they got to hug on it and love on it and see it every time. So it's fabulous. Okay, it says, what's in the recruiting packet, but we've just got a few more minutes, so this is gonna cut. So I'll just have Ryan send that to me if that's okay, if you share the recruiting packet. And she said, everybody's saying this was fabulous. Thank you so much. Thank you for your brilliance. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your generosity. And my skin feels so amazing. Thank you. Okay, thank you. They're just saying thank you.
Well, you are welcome, and thank you.
And we do appreciate your time, Ryan. And I want to just capsulize this with how long would you say an average facial is, and how long would you say an average party is, class, beauty experience?
My average facial is still probably 45 minutes to an hour. My party is, that time has not changed. So, it still hasn't changed. I would say hour and a half, 2 hours max from start to everybody closed. And, the key is everything's in the roll-up bag. So you're not spending all that extra time at the end.
Right. And then you are taking people away from the table because they're doing the half of the face. So we know that. And I would say on this note, sometimes at the skincare experience or a regular facial, they may be like, I've done this, been here, done this. This is not something they've done. And
absolutely.
A whole new experience and something that a lot of people could never even imagine and fathom being able to pay for. And so to have it free that day is amazing. So I think you're going to grab their attention and keep their attention the entire time. They want to stay and ask you questions. So I think this is a game changer for our X facial huddle. It's a game changer. And so we're going to kick off the rest of this new year with amazing amount of seeing new faces, getting with our current customers we've maybe lost touch with. And we're going to score some touchdowns, Ryan. You watch. We are going to, with this X facial, totally score. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in with us at last minute. And Ryan, again, I know you went to great lengths to be able to do it with us as well. And we appreciate your brilliance, appreciate everything that you've given to you. And I will touch bases, make sure I have all the documents to pass on to everyone. So,
and I'll send you September's Google Drive because September James is the one who did all the documents. I did not do any. She did a wonderful job.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much again. And thank you everyone for being on with us tonight, and let's go get them. So X facial is the way to go, and you'll get some extra cash by doing it. Okay. Love you guys.
Thank you.
Okay. See ya. Bye-bye. Happy Wednesday night. Bye-bye.